Senator Mikes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Master Chief, 3 years ago, the United States Navy had the worst recruitment in the over 50 years of an all-volunteer force in our military. Last year, we had the best recruitment numbers that we've had in 20 years. What changed? What happened?
Senator, I think a couple of things changed. I think we got some new leadership at Recruiting Command that fundamentally changed the way our recruiters approached recruiting, especially Gen Z. We instituted a recruiting operations center that enabled them to more effectively use their time, so they were targeting more viable candidates that would prove more fruitful from the contact. I think so I think those two things were pretty big. I'm also a huge fan of our advertising campaign, Forged by the Sea. Our data shows us that resonates extraordinarily well with this younger generation. It's not as cool yet as the Marine Corps, but I think
the Marine Corps didn't have a recruitment issue.
No,
I mean,
no, for the record, we've never had.
Okay.
I appreciate the laughter, but the Marine Corps was the steady branch through it all that never wavered. Their recruitment was never an issue. The Navy had a recruitment crisis, and last year had the best recruitment numbers in 20 years. And you're citing recruitment commands and advertising campaigns and
the recruiters themselves, sir.
why weren't we doing that all along?
Well, I think
That seems like common sense. So what really changed? I mean, do you think it was as simple as that? That for 3 or 4 years during a recruitment crisis, it was just the advertising slogan?
Well, I know, and I think it was the performance of our recruiters, the institution of the.
They just weren't doing a good job. I mean, help me out. I'm trying to.
I think.
What lessons do we learn from it?
Well, I think they were trapped in a kind of a paradigm that had worked for a long time, and were not as agile as they needed to be given the shifting environments. And so, I think, again, through effort and significantly reducing kind of the administrative and distracting things that they had to deal with to go be effective recruiters was one thing. The recruiting operations centers was another. And I think the other thing I think we've learned coming out of this, Senator, is that we used to try to get too cute by landing the number of recruits we needed. And when you do that, you're always going to miss. And so I think one of the things we've learned over the last 3 or 4 years is there's a number somewhere between 40 and 45,000 that we're just going to have to stick to every year and hold there, because that creates a constant demand signal for the recruiting nation out there. So it's a knowable goal. And then it will enable us to ensure we have enough capacity in our accession training pipelines to put through sailors at the pace we need them. Because one of the problems, it's a good problem to have for how successful they've been, is log jammed inside of my accession training pipeline because we had let that capacity atrophy too much because we were bringing in so few people.
I assume that with the really good news about recruitment, that there's really good news related to morale, especially for young enlisted sailors. Do you see the same?
Yes, sir. Our retention remains incredibly good, and we seem to be on a positive and sustainable path.
And what lesson do we learn from that?
I think, one of the things I think, those of us up here have talked about this. If I can get people in the Navy, I can generally retain them, right? And so this is why we've focused on setting a steady number, because that steady diet will help me be more selective in my retention decisions once I'm healthy there.
I love the United States Navy, and I'm a proud veteran of the United States Navy. This is really good news. The recruitment numbers are really good news, and you're a big part of it. I appreciate your leadership. With that, Mr. Chairman, I yield back.